Hey man, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. How you be doing, my friend?
Hey man, how's it going, man? Yeah, man. I've been trying to get a hold of you for a while. It's really good that we're talking and stuff because I remember you sent me this link or something, and I was like Google. I don't know. It was just like I don't know. My software or something was screwing up every time. Um, yeah. So I guess we're talking now. So what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Where do we meet before? Are you from the chat that we had on Google Hangouts, or
We
tell me,
never
where did you try to meet me before?
we chatted on Hangouts, but we never had like actual talk. Like we never actually like talked or anything. So
Yeah, so just so we know, are you from the Teenage Myth conversation?
yes, I am.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, hey, man, it's good to have you on the show, man. Well, what topic of discussion you want to bring up?
Well, since it's your show, man, I mean, why don't you just shoot Eddie? It's your live stream. So what do you want to bring out, man? There's so many things.
Hey, well, as I said, man, I'm feeling, like an open mic, talk tonight, man. So let's just go over this real quick. In the chat that we have on, the Teenage Myth thing, any topics regarding that, anything you wanted to ask me, because you said you wanted to talk to me, you wanted to reach out to me for a while. So anything that you wanted to bring up in particular?
Oh man, there's so many things. Where do I begin? Shoot. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to talk about that, I guess we can. I mean,
man. It's an open mic tonight. We can address any topic of discussion is certainly welcome. On this platform, man. So hey, I'll answer your questions. And anything's cool, man.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I agree with you with a lot of things. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on the teenage myth. I definitely agree with that. That it's a 20th century invention, and it's kind of funny because even back when I was in my teens, I always thought it was kind of bullshit too. But you never really think about that, that kind of stuff, and it really opened my mind when you had that book. What's that book called? Teen 2.0 by
Robert Epstein.
Yeah. Yeah. As even back when I was a teenager, as I said, I always thought that it's like I don't really feel like a kid,
Right.
It's just crazy, what would you add to that?
Man, as I said, when I was 12 or 13 too, I would of course consider myself, to be a young adult, man. And you see, nobody really thinks about it. It's like, and I brought up in one of my videos, I brought up an example, right? It's funny because I was at a party this one time for one of my cousins was turning 13, right? And she had one of her friends there. It was a friend of her sister. She was 17, turning 18. So one of the dialogues that they had was the older girl said, "Hey, I'm becoming an adult and you're becoming a teenager." So I was thinking to myself, well, wait a second. How the hell are you not an adult? You look like an adult. You act like an adult. You look like a fully grown woman. So what is it that makes you not a fully grown woman? And if you ask them these things, they really don't know. They just know to repeat what they're told because they don't know any better. Anyway, man, I'll throw the mic back to you.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's crazy. How am I going to say this? It's crazy that Americans, particularly, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world. I'm going to say mostly like Western countries' belief system, like the U.S., Canada, Australia, the U.K., like English-speaking Anglo cultured countries. It seems to really be a big issue in this kind of culture.
Right.
Again, I don't know how it is in any other parts of the world, but as I can speak of, I'm in the United States, so I can speak for it. But yeah, I think it's stupid because people, like, for instance, like, people will say like, "Oh, you're a child," like, say you're like 17, you're a child, like, "Oh, you're a little child." Then a minute past midnight, you're like, "Oh, you're an adult." Like that's crazy. Like, it's so
right.
I thought I was the only, like, when I watched your videos, I thought literally I was like one of the only people that thought that. Like, I thought like people cannot see how stupid that is. Like, they just
right. Hey, brother. Sorry to cut you off, man. But I did want to say a couple things.
Okay.
Hey, look, man. I did a video just to be sarcastic. What I did is the day I turned 18, I did a video. I started the video off when I was 17, and I ended the video off when I was 18. So I said in the video, am I any different of a person than who I was when I started the video than who I am when I end the video? Of course not. But wait a second. If you subscribe to the belief that an 18-year-old is an adult and a 17-year-old is a child, well, by logical deduction, you must agree, oh, yeah, well, he started the video off, as a child, but then he somehow ended the video off as an adult. It's absolutely ridiculous. I do want to throw something out there, man. I was planning on doing a stream maybe this week or next week. It's going to be about the teenage myth. So I'll have to invite you into that. And also, I don't know if you heard this yet, but I am working on my own book, and I'm going to entitle it "The Teenage Myth." Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I think it's ridiculous. And what I've noticed too lately is that I don't know if you noticed this either, but it seems to be only really targeted at males, at men. For example, one of my friends' cousin. She's a girl, by the way. I guess her cousin he's like 16 years old, and she was with him at this. I guess they're in Florida on vacation, and he banged one of he told one of the girls there. I guess the girl's like 24, 25 years old, and he told she was telling me this too. She was she was like 24, 25, and he basically went up to her and said, "I'm 17 going on 18." And she didn't really act like, "Oh my God, I can't believe," she knew what happened and let it happen. Backtrack a couple days ago, there was a guy that did the same thing, and she was saying what a creep and stuff he is. Like, that's so hypocritical. Like, you know what I mean?
Like I said, yeah, man. It's ridiculous because, in fact, in my book, I have a chapter of the book going over the insanity of the myth. I believe I entitled the chapter, and one of the insanities is it's ridiculous. Think about this for a second. If a man, which gotta watch what you say on this platform. Of course, YouTube will censor it. But if a man was to lay with a woman who's 17 years old, that's some type of like some matter of fact. Let me rephrase myself. I heard before there was a joke that was made about an 84-year-old man sleeping with an 18-year-old, and people were like, "Oh, well, yeah, she was just a horny young woman, right?" But if she was one day before that magic number, then that's some type of like, he should be hung. He should be certainly hung for such a terrible crime. If it was just one day before this magic number, and it is all absolute hypocrisy. It is all bullshit. And America will pay for this. The United States of America, aka Mystery Babylon the Great, will pay for this because this is a crime against humanity. I'll throw the mic back to you.
Well, again, yes, it definitely originated here in the U.S. and I'd say Canada, because I heard Canada is pretty much the United States. I mean, it's like America Junior. Australia is pretty much the same. Probably, again, they're probably still not as bad as the United States is with that, but they're pretty close. Now, someone did tell me that a lot of other countries are adopting that too, and that probably has to do a lot of America's bullying and the westernization of other countries. But I find it hypocritical. I mean, I find it ridiculous that and the thing is too, I really looked into this stuff, and it's what you say is the truth. I mean, you can support it biblically, you can support it historically, there's so many facts you can use to pull up for this argument. There's been tests done, there's been everything done to prove this. Like people will just shame you. They use ad hominem attacks. Like it's a very touchy subject to bring up to people.
Wait, my friend.
Can I ask a question about?
Here, hold on, Mina God. Hold on. I'll let you talk in a moment, Mina God. I just wanted to throw something out there. Okay. And you see, it's all based upon magic. That's all it is. And it's funny because, say for an example, the age of consent around the world, the lowest is 11, but the highest is 21. It's like, okay, so what is the real one?
That's North Korea.
It's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Mina God, you can go ahead and throw your comment.
Well, no, my question is just, let's say that the age is turned to whatever number you individuals prefer or think is the biblical number. How do you feel that would change society? Like, let's say today or tomorrow it changed. What would you think would be the immediate result?
Well, I mean, that would absolutely change the society because you see, you have a lot of, and this is why you have to read the book. It's Awaken Pennsylvania, man. Is there any way you could get that background noise out of the way? It's cool now. Anyway, let me continue my statement. It would absolutely change the society because a lot of young people, actually, the reason why they're down and out, right, depressed and whatnot, is because they're actually treated like children when they're actually biological. So if they were allowed to handle and to take on adult responsibility, but also receive the adult freedom, that would be a great thing. Matter of fact, Dr. Robert Epstein, in an interview with, I don't remember who it was, but it was a news thing, they asked him something along the lines of, you don't think, teens should be engaging in marriage or any of that. And he was like, absolutely they should be. So, it's that would be my response to that, is it would actually make it a very good thing. Matter of fact, also the Lord would actually lighten the judgment of America if America was to do away with this one thing. The Lord would actually lighten America's judgment. Mind God, I'll let you respond, then I'll throw it back to Awaken Pennsylvania.
No, but you didn't really answer my question. What would it change? Like, what would it allow the person to do and all that kind of stuff? Okay, so then they'd be eligible to marry sooner, which is agreed that there's no way the government should decide, fundamentally. Okay, then they'd be able to work sooner, right? They'd be able to be a slave sooner in corporate America, right?
Right.
So, okay, so like, would somebody sign up for that?
Well, I mean, they'll gain control over their life at a younger age. So that would be a great step for them. Now, for you, it's not going to change anything, but for that individual, that'll be very, helpful for them to enter into the adult world earlier instead of being held back for a number of years. So for you, it wouldn't make a change, but for that individual, it would make a change. Awaken, Pennsylvania. Do you want to throw anything back on Line of God's statement?
Well, the working life that most Americans, especially Americans, have is unnormal for anybody. The slave, the overtime, the hours, the whole monetary system is just unnatural for human beings in the get-go. Let's be honest. I mean, people are not. That don't matter what age you are. It's not. It's not natural. The world we're living in is not natural to anybody. So, but also it would change a lot of things too, because if you look at Germany, the drinking age in Germany is 16 years old, and Germany has. So, don't mind the traffic. I'm walking to my house. So
yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool.
But anyways, in Germany, the drinking age is 16 years old, and Germany, the youth, so-called, they have less. There's less drinking deaths. There's less because what happens is, like, let's say, like in America, when you have a high drinking age, like drinking age is 21, you create a forbidden fruit. So you're going to have more young people doing reckless things with the alcohol than when you have it younger, because the people in Germany look at the American youth and they're like, guys, it's just alcohol. Why are you chugging it like that? We're used to drinking it. See, you kind of get what I'm saying. It makes people, like, people are going to rebel more towards it. And that's what ETT was basically saying. Like, when you take things away from people, that's why a lot of teens emanate that adult behavior. They emanate the wrong sides of adult behavior, but they still emanate because they want to be that.
Yeah, I'm not debating that it's wrong. Like, I agree that. Again, I have to dig into this a little bit more. I think maybe I have to go over the scriptures that ETT and Ethan went over, but so I don't have a definitive number, based on study of the Bible itself. But I do agree fundamentally that an evil system should not be deciding when anybody drink or get married or whatever. So yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And another aspect to look at it, and I asked the Decoon and the sidekick Facade, I asked them this question, and they deliberately skipped over this because they didn't know, but I asked them a question, and it's a two-part question. It's a trap. Basically, I asked them, is sexual sin a great sin in the Bible? They say, yes, it is. So I asked, okay then, so why did the Most High give children sexual feelings if he did not intend for them to engage in them? They don't know the answer to that. But I mean, it clearly refutes it, because why would the Most High God give the supposed children sexual desires? As a matter of fact, their bodies are able to engage in this action. But wait, it's a sin for them to engage in that. That's utterly ridiculous.
Right.
Nobody can answer that.
In a qualitative sense, I agree with you on that. That makes sense. It's like, yeah, sorry, I agree with that. Like, again, I can't prove that in the scriptures. I'd have to do a study on it, but that makes logical sense. Our body is created by God perfectly, right? He could have paused those feelings until whenever he wanted. So.
Right. And I want to say this real quick before I let Awaken Pennsylvania join in. But what they did when I brought it up is they went to the unnatural world now and brought up, well, wait a second, but 5-year-olds can get their periods. And the reason why that happens is that's not normal. That happens today because of the over-sexualization of the society and by the foods that these children are eating. That's not normal. We're talking about normal progression in the world that the Most High made up. So a woman or a male come upon sexual maturity at roughly 12 to 14 years old, on average, according to the scriptures and according to the history. So Awaken Pennsylvania, I'll let you go ahead and respond.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I find it quite funny. When as you said, we go off the natural, and people's naturally, God gave us these feelings of natural reproduction. I think humans are the only animals, or what I mean, mammals, the only living beings on this planet that has people telling them how to live their lives and how to where and when to procreate.
Right.
It's crazy once you really think about it, because most living things in nature, they just go out and live naturally. They do what they do. Like, if they feel a certain way, they're going to do it. But humans are the only.
Go ahead.
And the crazy thing is too, like in America, they want to shame, particularly men. They want to shame men for liking young women. But I find it funny because it's perfectly okay to be a transgender. It's perfectly okay to be a homosexual, which is unnatural. But if you want to have
in certain states, because I know what you're getting at. In certain states, like I believe it's California, you can sleep with folks. That's perfectly. But hold on here. But all that's okay to do. All of that's okay. But if you sleep with a person under a magic number, even if they agree, then that's some type of like capital sin that you should be hung for. It is absolute utter hypocrisy.
No, but and also
the
hypocrisy also is that the leaders that put the penalties for that, they're doing that. We know that for a fact. So that's also another issue. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's just say that they've made those rules to be wrong. Okay, even the show like To Catch a Predator, that's a very hypocritical show because they're not catching the government people doing that. They're just catching like everyday quote unquote average.
Oh yeah, there's a funny thing I want to bring up about that. You mentioned that, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm done. You can go, AP.
Well, that's really funny you bring that up because on To Catch a Predator, I guess there was a police officer, one of the people in what the heck's that called? Perverted Justice. One of the people, one of the I don't know what the heck you call them people, the bait or whatever, the people behind the sting. They got busted for talking to a so-called underage.
Jeez.
And so they had to actually let they kept this very secret. They let him go and they let the other people go, and they're saying they're covering up. They're covering up badly. And then there was a cop there too with them that did it too, and they covered it up.
AP, check this out, dude. If they did all those things like with the government, let's say how they spy on us, but they spied on the government, we wouldn't have an end times because the unrighteousness would get cleaned out. So that's the biggest problem. It's like, again, I'm not agreeing with their rules because obviously they're all stupid. They're actually all explicitly designed to be against the Bible. Like the Bible says the earth is flat, so they're going to make a ball. The Bible says this, so they're going to say something else. That's the way it is. But yeah, if they applied those rules even lightly against the government, I don't think we would even have an end times. It wouldn't be possible.
Well, the thing is, too, the government, it's funny, especially here in America, they have everything that's unnatural is natural and right and moral. And everything that's natural is not moral. So, and people even get the word perversion wrong. Like, they'll call a guy liking a young woman a pervert, which, firstly, that definition is even wrong, because perversion is something that's unnormal. So that would be examples of screwing an animal would be considered perversion. Screwing another same sex is considered perverted. Not naturally liking.
That's okay. Here in America, all of that is okay, but if you do this one thing, which it's funny, man, because hold on a second, the Bible condemns all these things they're saying is okay, but the one thing they say is not okay, the scriptures say you can do it. I just wanted to pull up the scripture real quick. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 16. It says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as a potter's clay."
Right.
I got one too, ATT, in Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter, and woe is destruction. So that's what's
right. And man, as I said, this is a deep topic here, because this is what everybody gets emotional. Anybody can talk about any other topic, but the one topic that everybody would be emotional is this one topic. Nobody can use logic on this topic. It's like, and it's funny because guys say, hold on, I'll let you talk in a second. Guys will sit on there and say, well, age doesn't matter. But yet those are the same guys that say, well, you don't become an adult until you're a certain age. And I also like to propose a question. It's like, okay, so you're not an adult until a certain time, but it's like, well, wait a second. After a person hits puberty, what change actually happens after that? Whether 1 second they're a child, but then magically 2 seconds later they now become an adult. I mean, at what point is there like some type of like magic change that just happens past when this person becomes sexually mature? And nobody knows. It's just, well, that's the law. It's okay. Well, what is the law? Oh, it's just something somebody made up. And I'll say this again, I recommend a book named The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose, which is a phenomenal book that goes into, why anything legal or illegal is bullshit because it's just something somebody made up. Anyway, Pennsylvania, you can respond to that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's ridiculous, and the thing is, of course, it's going to be it's a very touchy subject. I mean, it's probably one of the most controversial subjects you can have, more than anything. People, I think, people, especially in the West, they have been beaten down so much by the propaganda. They've seen shows like To Catch a Predator and all that stuff that they're so emotional. What the government does is, when they have propaganda, they don't do it through logic. They do it through emotion. They get people through emotions. And
exactly.
And when you get people through emotions, logic goes out the window. You could tell somebody the facts all day. If they're emotionally attached to that belief, there's no way you're going to convince them.
That's why you have sorry to cut you off, man, but that's why you have a word called cognitive dissonance, and that's all it is that they want to believe what they believe because you see when the facts are presented, the facts don't line up with what they believe. So instead of being a man and going by the facts, they're just going to pretend that the facts are not true to stick with their belief. That's what you call cognitive dissonance. Anyway, I'll let you continue with your statement.
Yeah, as I said again, people get emotional. They get emotional ties to their belief, and it's almost like a breakup when you challenge their ideology. It's like a guy that's with a bad girlfriend, and he keeps denying you. He wants to fight you, he calls you names, like you're telling him, hey, look, this girl's bad for you, but he gets this, no, she's not, and because why? Because he's emotionally invested in her. That's how people are. That's how you gotta look at people with their beliefs. They're emotionally.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They're emotionally tied to their beliefs, so it's hard for them to break. It's like breaking up with in a relationship, Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy that no one really just sits down with anything, really, honestly. Like everyday people just don't sit and question things. They just take everything for face value and accept it. It's crazy. And
right, and you see, my friend, and this is why I would say, and I am by far one of the most unique individuals that's ever lived on the face of this earth, because there's nobody out there who can, hey, look, I am the notorious beyond G when it comes to understanding. The way I look at the world, the way I view things in my brain, the average person cannot think of it. Say, for an example, I was the first person to ever come on YouTube and to say that 18 is 666. Nobody else was saying that until I came to
that. 1 second, man, because I actually feel bad, because I thought I got that from Russian Bits, but it might have been you, man. So I tip my hat to you.
Oh, it was.
I doubt Russian Bits said something like that.
He did, but I was the first one who brought that out, because I brought that out, I want to say, a good 6 years ago, because I first put that out in the comment section. In fact, I went on his page, because I've been watching him for a good 6-7 years, and I put that in the comment section. I would go on his live shows and post that there.
Okay,
but the reason why that's important is because, this whole 18, this magic 18, that's 666. So that's one reason why they picked that.
Well, they're also Masonic numbers too. There was this really good thing that I found, and I can't find it again. I can't explain it well because I don't remember it, but I remember some of it. It's like 18 is 666, and then they say 21. The age 21 is 7, so it's completion. It had something to do with something crazy, like far out why they have the ages that way. It was so crazy. I wish I gotta find it, but it's crazy, man. It's all Masonic numbers. It's all it is.
Who's they though? God is behind the Masons, so he must be doing it for a reason. What is the reason?
Hello?
Yeah,
God is doing it. So why do you think he did it that way?
I can't hear you that well.
No, I'll answer that question. Well, we know God's behind all things, right? So just like Rich brought out the other day, it's like, why did the Lord let people be homosexual? As a matter of fact, I know Brother Polite brought that out, and he asked, go ahead.
Your live stream's like your voice is like really low. It's like I think they're screwing with the live stream.
Are you able to hear me still?
I can hear you fine.
It's your voice is like, I don't know why it's doing that, but
okay. Let me check something real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my connection or.
Okay, can you hear me again?
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Now,
you're fine.
Okay, I want to answer the question. I want to answer what Mind of God said. Just like Brother Polite brought out with Great Millstone, he said, well, wait a second, then. If homosexuality is wrong, well, why did God make man to be homosexuals then? And it took them a while to get to that answer. But you see, even though the scriptures are completely against that, the Lord allowed them to do that. Right, so the Lord allowed them to do what they're doing, just like with the ISS thing. The Lord doesn't want the earth to be deceived on where they live. Well, in a way he does. But, he allowed them to do what they're doing so those who can diligently do the research can come to the right answer. But he allowed them to do what they're doing. That's why the scriptures say what the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And that's why when you go to, what is that, Daniel, I believe that's Daniel 7:25, he shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until the times and dividing of times, just to answer that question. So anyway, Mind of God, I'll let you respond, and we'll let Awaken Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that was rhetorical. I wasn't trying to challenge you. I just a new vantage point, because we sort of brought out verses recently about how the Most High is behind good and evil. So I wasn't trying to challenge you. I just to kind of take a step
it's back. Cool, man. I understand.
But I agree with the fundamental point that you and Awaken are getting at, is that this is what I would recommend for people, even people deep into the Bible. It's okay to start from scratch. Even with the Bible, like it's not wrong to purge your views once in a while and just start from scratch. Use common sense. I think you'll find, like us, on this panel. Hopefully, I'm speaking for everybody. Is that once you use common sense, a lot of the Bible truths will make sense. You won't have to really wrestle with them. They'll be like, oh yeah, that's the way it should be. So I would recommend people do that, and it's good to do that in any aspect of life. Not just religious, but yeah, don't listen to what Biden says. Biden's an idiot, dude. Like, he can't even form a complete sentence. So yeah, don't trust what he says. So
right, and what's funny as well, I like to bring this point out, which I do want to say. I have to, of course, put the disclaimer out there, because you know how guys are. They'll cut clips up and make it look like it's not. So we're not. Look, if anybody out there goes against the quote unquote, rules of the land they live under, then that's on you. That's not on us, because we're not telling anybody to go do nothing. But if you do that, that's on you. But anyway, we're just dealing with the facts, right? The Bible says what it says, nature says what it says, so that's what we deal with, because that's the facts. We're not. Matter of fact, real quick, There we go. Can you guys see that banner on there?
You just changed it to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh.
Hold on a second. I have a banner. I changed it to the emotion-free zone. That's what this is here. This is a emotion-free zone. So anyway,
I got a bone to pick with you of something you said last time, man.
Hey, hold on, brother. I'll let you get to that. Let me just first finish my point real quick. It's funny because guys that get on, older men for being attracted to young females, which is the fact that teenage females are sexually attractive. Matter of fact, the Most High himself has sexual desires towards younger females, and that's in Ezekiel, the 16th chapter. Now, I know it was parabolic of the Lord comparing Israel to a young woman, but the point is, if you read Ezekiel chapter 16, start at verse 7 on down, it clearly describes a young girl becoming a woman, and she became a woman when what? When she hit sexual maturity. So anybody can go read that on their own. And then also King David, when he was old and on his deathbed, they brought him a young woman. That's, 1 Kings chapter 1 and verse 1. So these cats out here, man, who get all emotional when it comes to this topic, you cats are just, you guys don't know the scriptures, and you are going against the scriptures. What is that? Revelation 21 and verse, what is that? I believe it's Revelation 22, 18, 19. Right? Any man that takes away from the words of the prophecy of this book, the Lord shall take away his part from out of the book of life. Anyway, man of God, go ahead and throw your, I'll let Wake in Pennsylvania respond first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, well, really, the people that get it the worst, that really get ridiculed for it, is, which just by my observation and many others, but it seems to be that men are the targeted ones, and I wonder why. Because, even women, when they see like an older woman with a so-called underage male, they don't really say anything about it, or they laugh about it, or they don't get punished as much about it. Flip the script, and if a man does it, oh my God, let's get a lynch mob after him. But as I was saying, you can mutilate your genitals and become a different gender, or you can like the same sex. That's normal to most people, even Christians. Like, most Christians will even think that's wrong, but they'll accept homosexuality and they'll accept transgenders.
But we know the reason why they want it to be later in life, because the earlier in life you start thinking on your own, you're independent, you're free, you can't be enslaved. So we know the ultimate reason in these days where 18 and 21 are the magic numbers, because at that point you're essentially indoctrinated into a system that's about 20% of your life, and you're essentially wired to just be a slave. So that's the reason in the last days. Does that mean that it's right? Of course not, but would you guys agree with that?
Right. And I just wanted to throw a little aspect out there as well as, whenever it comes up to, this whole situation with an older person being with a young person, they never actually deal with it justly. In matter of fact, say for an example, when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, I was attracted to women who were in their late 20s. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Sexually attractive women are sexually attractive. But the point I wanted to bring up is they never look at how the young person feels about it. It's all just, if they're under this number, no person under this arbitrary number can be mature enough to engage in this activity. It's all, well, they must have been, forcibly, held against their will if they're under this magic number. Nobody ever deals with it justly. Nobody ever does.
I heard you had interest in Greta Thunberg. I can't remember who told me that, so I don't know if that's true.
Oh, yeah, that is true. And I claim her as my own in the kingdom of heaven.
You can have
anyway, mind of God. Go ahead and bring that spiritual shotgun out. Go ahead.
Dude, I got a slug for you, because I don't like, we ended off the last hangout. You're like, I'm soft, I don't want to talk about certain things in the Bible. Dude, I'm not afraid of the Bible, man. You should know my channel well enough. Just because I don't want to talk about a particular topic in the Bible, that doesn't mean that I don't agree with it, or I won't understand that it's the truth. Everything in the Bible gives us insight into God's infinite character. So you're Biggie, dude. You're the soft one. You have to get on a diet, and kind of get a bit stronger and all that. So I took exception to that. But I have no issue.
Hey, look, man. I'll let you continue your statement. Hey, look, man. I will admit, I have been hit by a few shells, but I am still walking with ligma inside, Joe.
Dude, you should say inside smoke whenever it's about Deacon, if you're cool with that.
Oh man, right? That damn coon, man. Which, as I said, man, those boys got their ass beat on that subject. Which I will admit, they did bring up a couple good points that I do need to address. I will give that.
They did a number on you. They were on their business that day.
Well, I suppose it comes down to a matter of perspective. But anyway, Pennsylvania, you can go ahead and respond. Which, matter of fact, I do want to say real quick. Are you from Pennsylvania, man? Because I actually am from that area.
Yes, I'm. Let's see if you know. Well, you probably, since you were from Pennsylvania. How long have you lived in Pennsylvania?
I was born there. I moved to Florida for like 11 years, but I was born in Pennsylvania.
I'm from, because no one really knows Pennsylvania, but you might know a little bit, but you were just born there. I'm like about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, yeah, I believe that was 2 hours, maybe an hour or so away from where I was was at. So is that where you're at now?
It's like it's like in the Pottstown area.
Yeah, I'm not sure I know where that is, but I do know that Philadelphia is only like an hour away from where I was at.
Yeah, it's like an hour it's like a 45 minutes to an hour outside of Philadelphia. I mean, I live in South